Alright, hello. I'm going to be reviewing a Platinum 5 Zed gameplay. And, alright, important things to note off the bat are, so Zed, Zed has a unique spot where he's a AD caster in the mid lane. Now, AD casters are very reliant on getting ahead in lane and snowballing. If they don't snowball, then it's very hard to close out games and maintain your lead, because as an assassin you usually lack utility, and especially Zed. Zed has no utility. He has a soft CC as a slow, but I mean that doesn't really count as utility, comparing them to like Syndra or Orianna, champions like those. So if he's not ahead, that's already going to be setting his team behind. Like when you pick Zed, when you pick assassins or AD casters or just snowball reliant champions, you're pretty much saying if you don't get ahead in this game, then you're either going to have to be carried or lose. And most of the time, if you're not carrying yourself, you're just going to lose the game. So that's really important when that's like an important mindset you have to keep in mind when you're playing champions like Zed, Yasuo, Riven. Alright, he's against the Talon. Looks like they both have armor. That's good. Looks like the Zed, okay, the Talon went for flat 80 runes, the Zed went for armor pen runes. You can see that because of the AD difference is a lot bigger on the Talon, which means he went to 80 runes. Alright, it's good. He's shoving out the lane to get a slightly early level 2 advantage. And see right there? He, like... Okay, right here. So things like this matter. Okay, he has presence in the lane right now, right? The Zed has presence in the lane. He's shoving the lane first. He's gonna hit level 2 first. It's okay for him. He should have played probably right in front of the minion. Okay, I wish I could rewind this a little more. Okay, this is pretty important when it comes to the pace of the lane. So right here, see how he scoots back? He scoots back behind this minion right here. Like, if you had positioned right here, in front of the minion, and lasted it there, and then just queued, you should have just queued the Talon right there instead of going for that minion. Because you want to establish like a kind of a lane dominance early. It's okay to give up CS. And see, Talon's making a very poor trade right here, look at this. Talon's giving a trade when he missed his W. I believe he missed his W. His W is down. It doesn't show it here, but his W is down. And he already missed his W. And he has what, 1 minion here against 3 minions. So, I mean it's pretty obvious he's gonna lose this trade. So and it's good for Zed taking this trade right here. And you know, the Talon didn't flash the Q there, that was greedy. But that was a good capitalize on Zed's part. He was abusing the fact that Talon made a very poor trade and basically gave him a free level 1 kill. I believe that's a level 1 kill. Yeah. So that was good. Shoving out the lane, that's good. That's good. You want to be shoving out the lane, there's no issue there. Now, right here, I don't know what he's doing. He's wasting time. He's completely wasting time. There's no reason for him. He needs to get out. He just, like, look at that. He spent 10 or 12 seconds. Look, he still hasn't recalled. You want to just recall right away and get that gold power spike, because right there you have 600. You had 660 gold. You could have backed, got a longsword. See, now you wasted a potion instead of just basing for free. Okay, you would just shove the lane out. You know, the time is 2:20. You just shove the lane out, and look, you're walking away. There's absolutely no reason. Top lane is shoved. He's low, but you're not gonna dive this because the top laner is low too. Like, if the Jax is low, then you're not gonna be diving a rumble, because I mean he's gonna go shield obviously, so that's not gonna happen. So you push the lane in at like 2:20, and now it's 2:50. You know, you wasted 30 seconds You could have you need a back for power spikes because you got a first blood and you did nothing with it. All you like that first blood right as of right now, Talon is in ahead of you in every way except for XP, which XP is important, but right now, you know, he has more health than you. Okay, not anymore, but you basically just wasted a lot of time there by not recalling there. So you're pretty low from that. You're using all your HP pots just because you didn't back there. Like your goal right when the minion wave is that big, you just want to get the minion wave. You don't want to worry about trying to out trade him there unless it's a free trade. So you were focused too much on the trade there, where all you had to do is save your HP and just last it because it's guaranteed gold. It's free gold. If he wants to walk in and W, you know his W is very weak. It's a level 1 W because some Talons go level 2 rake, or level 3 they take 2 points in rake, but because he only won 1 point in rake, his rake is very low there. And see, you didn't back. You didn't have enough damage to kill him just because you didn't back. All you had to do was back. You would have arrived a lane at the same time as Talon. And he killed you because he survived with, like, looked like 50 health or something like that. Look at that. He's down to 33. He's down to 28. He was at 28 HP. With the longsword, what'd you do? You hit him like 5 auto attacks and abilities combined. So that's, you know, you missed out on like 50 damage right there, and he had like 28 HP. So that was a guaranteed kill if you had just backed. You know, there was no difference at all. So I know I'm repeating it a lot, but it's something that's really important, especially in laning. Like on the jungler, you can get away with it just because sometimes it's a better prioritization to get a gank off or get a buff or something like that. But when you're laning, you really don't want to you don't want to skip recalling out, especially when you have a free back. That's actually really important. So, okay, now you have your item. Went Warhammer. So I'm pretty sure Serrated Dirk would have been a better buy there because Armor Pen scales pretty well, and you're level 6 with you're gonna have. It looks like you have Armor Pen runes. So on top of your Armor Pen runes, if you get a Serrated Dirk, it's like I think it's the same amount of AD, I believe. I think they're both 25 AD. And the only difference is CDR. Do you really need CDR this early on Zed? No, you don't. You really don't. You need the damage, the 10 armor pen, a lot more than you do need the CDR. Because Zed's cooldown's already so low that 10 CDR in like just the laning phase over armor pen. That's not a sacrifice you should make. Especially with the Zed ult buff. It was like they increased his ult damage by 10% at every level, I believe. Or no, it was just 10% on ranks 1 and 2, I believe. But that's why you want to go armor pen even more, because if your ult's doing more damage off of the damage you do, armor pen just scales with that. So you'll have really good scaling at level 6 because of that. Looks like you auto minion there. That's something, that's a detail that needs to be fixed. It wouldn't have mattered. You wouldn't have killed him with that auto because I believe your passive was already down. So that was. Let's just look at this. Okay, first off, you have no energy. You have energy for a Q in in a second. In 1 second, you'll have energy for a Q. 1 Q. 1 Q isn't going to kill him right here. You know why? Because you built Warhammer. What does Warhammer do for you right now? Absolutely nothing. Look, you don't have any energy to cast that spell with the lower CDR anyway. You have absolutely no energy. That Warhammer, this was an inefficient buy. With a Serrated Dirk, he would have been a lot lower in HP because of all that armor pen you would have had on him. Look at this. You would have got all that HP bar to do more damage with the armor pen. And then you flash auto minion here. You look. That's something you're aware of, and something you need to be more careful of. And he looked like he was at like less than 100 HP there. Once again, if you had flash autoed him there with serrated dirk, which is, if you don't know the item, it is the same amount of gold as Warhammer, and it gives 10 armor pen instead of 10 cooldown reduction. Also, it has the passive of increasing your next ability or auto attack by a certain amount of damage. I'm not sure what it is offhand, but I think it's like 15 or so. And that's also that's huge. That is such a huge passive in an item for that. Every time you slay a minion, like as Zed, CSing is nothing for Zed. You'll CS while you're comboing on accident. It's just how Zed works, you know? What you would 100% would have gotten that kill just if you had bought a different item. So something like that, once again, it's really important, and I'm going to emphasize it. Because we've already seen two very, very tiny things that don't necessarily make you a worse player. Like mechanically, you're not, you know, you have done nothing to make yourself a worse player than this guy. You should be 2-0 in lane right now, but he's 2-1 just because of small little mechanical errors, or not. One was a mechanical error, another one was a decision-making error with the not recalling. No, so you're kind of outplaying yourself in these situations. You could have been level 6. You could have roamed. Like the game could be different right now if you had played that correctly on both occasions. You could have been level 6 off of the Talon. You could have shoved out your lane, roamed bot maybe. Look at the Morgana. You could have maybe run bot going through here. You know, things like that. You could have dove the Rumble possibly. Probably wouldn't have been a good idea, but it's just a thought. Okay, so now you're hitting level 6. When you hit level 6 as Zed, you know, you immediately want to look for roaming opportunities. Or you can choose, you can either make the decision to roam and ward their jungle so you can kill their jungler, because it's really easy to kill jungler usually as Zed, especially if because they're going to usually be like a level behind, especially at the level 6 power spike. Unless the jungler got a couple kills or leached a lot of experience from a lane, he's gonna be level 5, which makes it really easy for you to assassinate him. So like warding the wraiths, or if you have a lot of time, you can ward over here if you really want to, depending on when their buffs spawn. Like his buff is gonna spawn at what, around 8:30. So this blue buff, he started red, so I believe he started red at least. We'll see, but you can ward their buffs as Zed because you can invade them. So that's something you always want to try and do. Okay, Talon warded your lane, so they already know you're roaming. So that's something to know. Lots of times, especially the higher elo you get, people are gonna ward your mid lane right here if you're playing a champion that can roam very well. Okay, I'm gonna switch this to your Fog of War, to the Zed's Fog of War. Right here, what do we know? Okay, we know Talon's last hitting here. Where's your jungler? Your jungler's over here. Where's your top laner? He's over here. Look, you saw Rumble running down. So basically what you did is you put yourself in a pinch. Because, look, you put in yourself that you're not going to get any help from your jungler. You're not going to get any help from your top laner. Is that your jungler and top laner's fault? No, it's not. Because they weren't there, and you have to play around that. If they're not there, it's not their fault for not being there. Although they could maybe something they could have done could have been better to get them there. But right now, in this situation, this is on you. This isn't one of those times where you can spam ping and be like, "Where's my team?" You know. You just put yourself in a pinch. And we have a ward here. Your red team has a ward here, so you instantly saw, like, what do you have? You don't have flash, but you. So let's back this up. From the second you ulted. Alright, so what is the first sign of danger? Alright, so you ulted. Look, you already see Rumble right here. You already see Rumble. You should have shadow swapped, and then just W'd over the wall. You had a long time to read that. You know, I know it's sometimes hard to look at things like that when you're in the middle of a fight, but do you really need to be watching your opponent with all of your eye focus the entire time? So you could have gotten out of that. I don't know if Talon didn't have flash. Hecarim doesn't have a way of chasing over that wall. Rumble was definitely not going to be able to chase you. He doesn't have flash either. You could have easily just gotten out if you had just looked at your map and seen that your team wasn't around and that Rumble was roaming. Alright, I'm going to speed this up now, because I think most of this stuff is gonna be basically the same of what we've been seeing so far. Okay, you have a pink ward, good. That's good. And as a mid laner, lots of times you're gonna want to place that pink ward. Okay, let's see. All right, that's good. Just following up on the poppy, that's good. All right, lots of times as the mid laner in this situation, you couldn't place your pink ward before they saw your inventory because they were obviously at your turret, so they would have seen that. Like mid laners are always gonna look for your inventory. Okay, that was a good run. That's a good job. You saw he was overextending. You capitalized on it, and you got the kill because he didn't have flash, and that was free. That was very good. But like I was saying with the pink wards, you want to try and place those pink wards as soon as you can, because the longer they're up, you know that's. Oh. Okay, that looked like a good upplay. Good job. Oh, that was very good, actually. Nice. You completely dodged Talon's ult. That was very good. Anyway, yeah, place your pink wards before they have vision of you. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Because that's something that people are going to be looking for. They're going to be checking your inventory, and that's something you should do as well. You should be checking for your mid laner's inventory, because if he doesn't place his pink ward and you see him walk over here, check his inventory as soon as he walks back into Fog of War, because you already know there's a pink ward right here. You don't even have to walk in that bush. You already know, so you can ping your jungler off of it if he tries to gank from that angle. And it doesn't look like you're warding too much, and you still have your pink ward. Look, your pink ward is still there. And I understand. Okay, I understand. Okay, I did forget that you do want a pink ward against the Talons, so in this situation, it is probably better that you just keep a pink ward in your inventory just for that. So I understand what you're doing there. I understand the logic. Alright, could have been a little more careful with your Qs there. Because you would have had 100% had that kill if you had landed a Q. And now, I want to talk about is, did you really need a roam down there? Look, I mean, turrets are very important. You're fighting over here. Are you going to get a tier 2 turret from this fight? Ask yourself that. Are you going to get a tier 2 turret from fighting over here? No, the answer is you're probably not going to get a turret from this fight. Because it's so far deep in their territory that they're going to have respawns and they're going to have backup just like that. It's easy. You know, just all it takes is, you know, 2 people here and you're not going to be able to get this turret. You already know Talon's roaming. You see him right here. You guessed he was roaming by that ping. I saw the ping. And then you see him for sure right here. Chances are, it's probably going to be too late for you to walk down there by the time they're fighting. Because you know Hecarim's going to be wanting to come down there as well. That's something you have to guess. That's something you should know. Because if they're fighting right here, obviously the jungler's going to want to gank them. So that means you can get this turret uncontested. There's enough minions here that you'll be able to clear the wave, clear this, get a lot of damage on this turret, clear the next wave, and then get the turret on this wave. You have a Ghost Blade, look at that. You can 100% get this turret for free. And there's no risk at all. You haven't seen their jungler yet, but look, there he is right now. He was going bot. So this ended up, you know, just being a gigantic waste of time, and you died on top of that. So, you know, that's just decision making right there. That was pretty easy to just get the turret there. You have a Ghost Blade. It's what, you know, Ghost Blade's really good at getting that early turret advantage because of the attack speed on it. And you're still not using your ward. Oh, that ward, you need to be using your ward there. Pretty much trying to keep it on cooldown the entire game. because vision is everything in the mid lane. And I noticed you're not warding his lane. Like you see how earlier he roamed down, and you weren't 100% sure, but it was a pretty educated guess that he was gonna go bot, and you pinged it. Well, if you had just warded here earlier, you would have seen the direction he was going. Because if you ward right around here, it's out of the turret's range, and you can see which way he's roaming. And you can see if he returns the lane, because most people aren't going to return the lane by going through here. They're going to just walk back up into here if they go to ward. So you'll know if he's warding or if he's roaming. And you'll know where he's roaming, so you don't have to spam ping top lane if he's going bot. You just spam ping bot. And the top laner knows he's safe. That's another thing. The top laner knows he's safe if you place a ward here, because you already know where he's going. If he's going bot, he's not top, obviously. And in the case of where you want to keep a pink ward in your inventory for a Talon, you should probably just buy another one whenever you have the gold and actually place it. Because if you're going to keep a pink ward in your inventory simply just so you can try and get a kill on your laner, then it's not really worth it, because they're going to have a vision advantage on you, and that's not really worth it. Because the kill isn't guaranteed even if you do place the pink ward on the Talon's ult, but the vision is always guaranteed. So, probably just buy another pink ward if you were to get the gold for it. And I'm not quite sure what this pink ward here was for, because pink wards have a vision range. Look at the vision range. You literally W'd out of your vision range of your pink ward before you placed that ward. So. Now that pink ward wasn't a guaranteed kill. It actually got you killed, and you wasted 75 gold on top of that with this pink ward, because this pink ward's just gonna die. You're gonna feed the enemy 30 gold on top of the kill that you gave him. So that's a big deal there. I believe you did kill the Talon there, right? Yeah, okay. It was a 1-for-1, but I don't like 1-for-1s. 1-for-1s don't really win you the game. You want to make plays that help snowball you, not the enemy team, and that help win the game. That particular play does not help you win. Okay. Let's look at your items. Okay, you have CDR boots. Alright. What are you trying to build here? See, Zed builds can be... Some people build different things. I'm not quite sure what is a perfect... I'm not sure what the perfect Zed build is, but this doesn't look good at all. The Ghost Blade's fine, but the Phage, I don't know what the Phage is doing there. And the CDR boots this early, I don't really like Zed having CDR boots. I think he's much better with swiftness or mobility. Swiftness seems to be the meta right now because they're slightly better than the mobility, since they still give you the tier 3 movement speed. But I don't really like CDR boot Zed personally. So you're kind of at a stat disadvantage here just by your items. Talon has, when you made that fight, Talon had a Tiamat, a Serrated Dirk, and a Warhammer. So that's much more combat stats. Even though you have this completed item, I don't believe you used it. So, you were at a stat disadvantage when you fought him there. That's another thing that you did. It could have been a little better. Just by looking at you have to be looking at your opponent's inventory and making guesses on whether you can 1v1 them off of that. Eventually, you'll get used to it as well. Like to me, that's a very obvious situation where the Talon will be able to kill me. It's very obvious to me that the Talon will be able to kill you with these items. And before that, remember, you didn't even have the Phage. All you had was a Ruby Crystal and a Longsword when you did 1v1 him. So, and he had all these items already. So that's kind of that's something that you'll need to pay attention to in the future. Because there's times where you just need to farm. If you're not sure if you can kill them, or if you're not sure where the enemy is, there's times where you just need to farm. And that's the right play, and there's nothing wrong with that. And okay, looks like he went for oracles. But you still weren't warding earlier, so remember to keep that in mind. And you still, you're still not buying pink words. You're still not placing any pink words in any of these bushes. Because when you're with pink words, you'll be able to roam, and you'll be able to know that they don't know you're roaming. So that's why that's important. Okay, it's good that you're roaming her. Okay. Okay, we know Talon's top. We know they're probably gonna, yeah, they're gonna stay and get this turret. They're pinging it right now. They're definitely gonna kill that. You already have your mid turret, so all you can do here is shove the lane. That's good. And you couldn't have gotten bot turret because there's no minion wave, so that was a good choice to not to stay down there. That's good, that's good. Now here you're sticking around too long. Look, you have no vision here. They're not taking this turret. You don't know where they are. And you don't have any vision, They're probably, look at this, they already recalled. If her support was there, all she'd have to do is ult and you're dead. And you wasted time by pushing that wave there. You didn't have vision. And you got some turret damage, but it was too big of a risk for the rewards of getting a little turret damage on the turret. And you were not able to defend your turret as well, because you didn't back. So look at that. You wasted about 45 seconds right there. Look at this. No, you wasted well over a minute because of that. You lost a minute of your game right here. You didn't gain anything from here. You gained no gold on the table. You gained nothing. And all you did was get some turret damage. You're too low to defend your turret. You're recalling, but you're too low to defend this. So if you had recalled at 18 minutes, you would have already been back to lane, and you would have been at full HP. You probably would have been able to get this kill, because right here, nothing would have changed here except for the fact that you would have been at full HP. So you would have probably been able to get this kill. You got exhausted, and maybe you wouldn't have got it, but you at least would have lived. You wouldn't have died there. So they weren't gonna go anywhere. They were gonna stay here. If you had recalled, nothing would have changed there. They would have still been here. You would have been full HP. And that fight would have been much different. You wasted, including your death timer, and the time it's going to take you to walk back to lane, or walk back to a strategical position, you wasted about a minute and a half there. And look at the penalty that you received just because you didn't recall on that. Like, this could have been so much different if you had just recalled. Look at this. You're probably going to lose a tier 2 turret here. You lost 3 people. No, you had lost 4 people in total, and you might lose a tier 2 here. Okay, you're not losing this, but you're probably going to lose bot lane. So you lost 2 turrets and 4 deaths. That right there is the big turning point in this game. That is a gigantic snowball for the enemy team. That right here is possibly why they won the game. That was just a gigantic lead for the blue team there. All, a simple little thing of not recalling at the right time. Something that small can cause major, once again, look, why are you here? There's no reason to be here. And you made a misplay there, so you died for it again. Okay, you got the 1-for-1, that's good. But, once again, there's no reason to be here. You have no vision. Because what did you do? You went Oracle's Lens. If you're gonna buy Oracle's Lens and stay mid the whole game and not do anything with your Oracle, that's just a waste of time. Don't go Oracle Lens if you're not gonna split push. If you're gonna split push and try and get picks in the enemy jungle, then buy pink wards and get Oracle Lens. Or just pink wards and get blue trinket. I like blue trinket a lot more than Oracle Lens on mid laners right now. But you're not playing to your trinket right now. You might as well have gotten just kept the warding totem if you're gonna stay mid the whole game, And look at the gold. After the first team fight we were talking about earlier, where They got they killed you here, and they got the turrets. Okay, so right here, you don't have vision of them at all. You have no vision of them. They could be anywhere. They could all be in this bush. You have no vision of them. They've had enough time to recall and walk anywhere on this map. Okay. You ulted him as he was coming into vision. He has QSS, and you didn't check his inventory for that. But you should, at least you made the right decision of backing out. Although he was able to close the gap with the ult there. But right now, you should know that you can't 1v1 this Talon. Even before then, look. Right now, you can't 1v1 the Talon. Look at your items. What are your levels? You're one level behind, okay? You have a Black Cleaver. If you're trying to 1v1 a squishy target, Black Cleaver is not an efficient buy. He is ahead of you in combat stats because you went Black Cleaver. You can't 1v1 him, and that's something you have to know and you have to play around. Because look at his items. He has QSS. Your ult is actually useless right now. Your ult does absolutely nothing except all you can do is use your ult to dodge some of his damage. To either dodge his ult or dodge his rake, whatever you feel comfortable with. But that's all your ult is useful for right now, and that's something you should know because you should be pressing tab and checking for when. Because I noticed he had an old magic mantle, somewhat like as laning phase was ending. As laning phase was ending like 5 or 6 minutes ago, he had an old magic mantle. I already knew he was building a QSS because of that. That's obvious. He doesn't need a hex drinker against his team. He's gonna go QSS, and he had that. So you need to be watching for when he completes that item because that's an important power spike for Talon that you need to know, so you can avoid him when he gets it. So that's already, we already know it's a bad fight here just by his items. Look, he has QSS. Your ult's useless. He has Tiamat, extra burst, and he has the pickaxe on top of that, and he has a Ghost Blade. All you have is a Black Cleaver and CDR boots and Ghost Blade. You cannot 1v1 him at all. Alright, so that's something that you're gonna have to work on right there. Checking it doesn't seem like you're checking your opponent's inventory at all, which is important if you're trying to play an assassin. Because you need to know when you can 1v1 your opponent. And you have to change your playstyle according to if you can or can't touch certain players on the enemy team. So you have a lot of unnecessary deaths. A lot of these deaths were absolutely unnecessary. The enemy didn't outplay you. They didn't do anything special. All you did was make poor decisions. A couple mechanical errors, but it was mainly poor decision making that led to most of your deaths. And when you have that many deaths, your CS is going to suffer a lot. Like add up 9 deaths, and that's a lot of minutes that you've missed from being able to CS. And your CS is low. Your XP is low. So you're not doing very well in snowballing, which is what you want to do when you're playing Zed. You don't want to be dying over and over again, because dying several times and trading 1-for-1s, that doesn't snowball you at all. And you did have Vision of Heck there, so you carelessly threw out your W there. You're not being aware. You're kind of tunneled in. You need to be very aware of your surroundings. See, ideally, in this situation, you probably would have wanted to go top. Because it's a 4v4, Silver's here, you just used your ult. You already used your ult to kill Morgana, so it's going to be a 4v4, except the only difference is, your team is going to have 3 ultimates, and their team is going to have 4. So that's already at a disadvantage. And look, they did win this team fight. So that's something you shouldn't have fought. You should have known that was a bad idea. Because just because there's 1 or 2 people here, just because it's like that, that doesn't mean that more people aren't going to show up. More people are going to be showing up because you're so close to the base, and no one's on the minimap anywhere. You have no vision. They're obviously going to be coming mid if you're all there. They're not going to walk to their wolves or go top when their lane is shoving away from them. They're going to go mid. and you already know that you're down your ult. You're useless. If Zed doesn't have ult, he's pretty useless unless he's so far ahead he can get a huge AoE chunk of damage on with his combo, with his shadow combo. So that wasn't the case. You just use it on one person, and then the reinforcements came, and you got wiped out. Right there would have been a situation where you want to just let Sivir see what Sivir was doing was fine. But since you guys died and you guys made a mistake over here, she's forced to come in defense, so she can't shove the sideline anymore. And you guys are forced to defend when ideally you wanted to be shoving these two sidelines out, because when you have your sideline shoved, that creates pressure for the enemy, which you can use to gain vision control and make picks and in general just not get caught. See this fight right here at the tier 2 ended up causing this fight, which is really bad for you guys, because now you're going to lose a tier 2 turret. You know, you just lost a tier 2 turret for free. Okay, you're being really careless here. You don't have vision of them. Right here, look, you don't have vision of them. You're making lucky guesses. You're like, I hope I get a little lucky here. You don't want to be doing that. That's not gonna lead to consistent play. This is right here. This is a bad habit. This is probably something that you and a lot of players do. They're like, it's solo queue, you know, it's no big deal. I'm just, you know, I'm making a risk. But the thing is, you didn't have any vision of them. The only thing you did know was that Callista was low. That's the only thing you did know, because you had vision of her being really low here if you were paying attention to that. Other than that, you have no idea where they are. They could have all been in this bush still getting their Gromp or still warding or something. They could have all been here, you would instantly died. And they could have done Baron over that. That's a situation. That's like the worst case scenario here. That was the risk for the play you were making and doing this. But it doesn't seem to turn out that bad. It seems like you get a 1-for-1. Once again, I'm noticing a 1-for-1 trend. You're playing to a lot of 1-for-1s, and that doesn't help you win games. You're basically just stalemating the game and putting the game entirely in your team's hands, and that's not something you want to do in solo queue, because when the game is in your team's hands, you're not caring. You're just, you're probably not going to gain much elo if you play like that, because you have to carry yourself out of whatever elo you win. You have to prove that you're better than the enemy. So that was just a careless fight that led to another advantage for the enemy team, because you weren't there to prevent it, because you had traded for 1v1, 1-for-1. Alright, right here. Okay. So let's just analyze this real quick. He has Zhonya's. I didn't see him use Zhonya's, and I'm on the spectator client. I think his Zhonya's is up, but if I'm on the spectator client and I didn't even see him use Zhonya's. So if I didn't see him use Zhonya's, then you should know he didn't. You should be able to take a pretty good guess that he didn't use Zhonya's yet. He's level 15, and you're level 13. That's something to note as well. Look at his items. He's 916. He's 2 levels ahead of you. He has Zhonya's. He has Leandri's, which is kill pressure of you. He has Magic Pen. He has double Magic Pen items, which is a lot of kill pressure of you. You have what? No MR. You have a null Magic Mantle, which is cancelled out by his Magic Pen items. So you basically don't have any MR. Now let's see how this turns out. Could be good or bad. He is overheated, so that's the only thing you have going for you right now. But on paper, this was not a good fight. Okay, look. He had a good Zhonya's there. He negated 2 of your Qs and the death mark. Let's see how this turns out now. Okay, looks like you managed to kill him, but if he had played that better, you probably would have died. So just keep that in mind. That on paper that was pretty bad to go in on that, because he definitely would have killed you if he had played that better. He didn't play that correctly at all. He overheated. Like, okay, what he would have a good Rumble would have done there is he wouldn't have overheated on his W, because he used his W and overheated on his shield. Why would you do that? You would want to Q the Zed and then Zhonya's with your Q going on while he ults you. And you probably would have died if he had done that, because he would have been out of overheat and his cooldowns would have been up if he had done that. So that was just a matter of you getting lucky there. That doesn't lead to consistent play that promotes good habits. because you're just blindly going into situations where you're not sure if you're going to be able to kill them, and you want to be sure. You want to have you want to be 95% sure that you can make a play happen when you do it. See right here, you have 2 people dead. Your ADC isn't with you. He should have grouped, but you have 2 people dead on the enemy team, and 1 person is top lane. So that's a free turret. That's good. It's good to group here. This is when you want to group. Earlier when you grouped, that was not a good ideal. That was not an ideal time to group, but now it is, and that's what you're capitalizing on. That's very good. And see this Oracle's Lens? You're still not using it all. You could have been lighting up their jungle with a whatever, what it's called, the Farsight Totem. You could have been lighting up their jungle with Farsight Totem this entire time, taking their jungle camps and shoving lanes in. That's something you can do to carry the game without having to rely on your team. Now you just want to get out. Look at you. Nope. 1v1 up here. They're both top laners up there, but this is risky now because you're all pretty low and you don't have ult, so this is risky. It works out, but I feel like that was that because if the Talon had just grouped, he could have killed. You guys could have been ace there. So I guess it was a good thing that you did go because you saw he wasn't grouped, but that was just a really risky thing right there. Like I personally would have liked to have my team recall and just ward Baron, make sure they don't Baron because they're pinging Baron right now. They can Baron. They're in a good position. 3 of you are dead because of this play right here. It would have been much better to just recall and establish vision control, which your team has absolutely none of. There's no vision in here at all. And the later the game gets, the more important your decisions can get. That's debatable, but I feel like the later the game gets, the more important your decisions make, and the bigger your errors are. Because at this point, 1 person dying could mean an inhibitor, and that's huge. You don't want to be giving away free inhibitors. So right now is when decision making is most important. Now, what are we doing here? This is risky. You don't have any vision. You're just blind face checking, playing solo queue and hoping they're not waiting there. Look, the whole team could have been right here. They should have been there because the Jackson's pushing, so they could have been there. And you blind check this as well. And it looks like you just die for free. Alright, so you guys just died for free. There's no reason to be down there. Look, your Sivir isn't there. Is that her fault? No, that's you guys' fault for going down there. There was no reason for you to be down there. She instantly dies. The only good thing you have going for that is the fact that your base, or they're pushing your base, or you're pushing their base with super minions. That's the only good thing. But look at this. Once again, huge wave. This is another situation. No reason to be down here. You have no vision. You know why you don't have any vision? Because you're Oracle Lens. That's why. You're contributing no vision to the team as a mid laner. That's pretty bad. You want to be contributing vision for your team, because if you're not doing that, then chances are the rest of your team aren't either. And they're not. You can see that. 3 wards, probably one down for like 3 per person, but that's not helpful. So this wave right here, huge. All this is gonna be denied by this turret if no one gets to it. Looks like you guys are gonna be able to get it in time, but ideally you would have wanted to just shove this lane, because look, you have a mid lane inhibitor. They have Baron, but you guys also have their inhibitor, which means they can't really do anything but shove this mid lane until they get it up to your base, and they have to make the choice to either siege your inhibitor turret here with super minions going against them, which puts them at a disadvantage, or they have to choose to just allow the Baron buff to be wasted while they just clear side lanes and push the super minions, because you have an inhibitor. That's huge. That's a lot of pressure towards the enemy team that you can apply with that. So you finally got this cleared out. That's good. That should have been done earlier, and you wouldn't have had any penalties for doing it if you had just pinged people off and not fought down their bot earlier. And like I said, it's a playstyle for your Oracle Lens. If you're not playing to the style, you're not synergizing your playstyle with your Oracle Lens. If you wanted to use the Oracle Lens, you could just split push all game. But you have a top laner, you have a top lane Jax with TP. So chances are you're not going to be able to split push very well this game because of that. So you definitely should have gone either Farsight or Warding. And I keep mentioning that only because that error keeps popping up many times in this game, over and over again. That becomes a pretty big error, and why a lot of the things are going as they are. Okay, this is a decent fight. It's a 4v4 with your Sivir coming. This is a decent fight here because their Talon's top lane. But you're ulting targets that have Zhonya's, so okay, looking at Hecarim's items. Look, you can just check Hecarim's items. You can just by looking at their items right now. What can we tell about these team fights? You're deciding to ult the Rumble, but the Rumble has Zhonya's. He's not gonna die to your ult. You're literally like, just think about it. You're gonna ult him. You're gonna go in. You're gonna take a lot of damage, and he's gonna Zhonya's. You're not gonna kill him, and you're just gonna have to ult out, or else you're dying. Once you ult out, you're useless. So that's obviously not a way you want to use your ult, because if you just ult in to a target that's gonna Zhonya's, take a free damage, and then just ult out or die in this situation, you're not gonna be able to go back in after that once you ult, because you're just gonna die if you go back in. So just think about that. If that's the situation that you're going to put yourself in by ulting a target, then find a better way to do it. If you had ulted Hecarim, because look at Hecarim's items. Hecarim's items are one tank item. He has one tank item and a Kindle Gem, 200 HP. That's nothing. He's not tanky at all. Trinity Force and Warrior. He's a threat. He does damage and he's a threat. It's okay to ult him. See, you could have ulted right there. You could have ulted the Hecarim there. You could have just QE'd, comboed the Hecarim until he ulted and ulted his ult, and killed the Hecarim. This fight, you wouldn't have died, and you would have been able to possibly maybe end the game right there if you hadn't have died. You realize that? You guys still won the fight, but that was still a mistake on your part. Just because you won the fight doesn't mean you didn't make a mistake there. Looks like your team kind of messed up there too. You kind of threw that. The Sivir recalled, I think, so the rest of the team should have just left him. Or should have just left. Risky once again, you know, this is another... And she killed you. And it's not going to be 1-for-1. Okay, so another risky play by you, and you don't have vision of them. You can make guesses that they might have recalled, but those are guesses. There's nothing is confirmed. You don't have vision of them. You don't know where they are. They could all be here. In general, you want to keep a golden rule of not fighting when you don't have vision. That's kind of a golden rule. Even if an enemy seems to be in a position that would make it so you would seem like you would kill them, you gotta keep in mind that they have summoner spells, they can flash away, they can heal. Like the Callista had QS and heal available when you fought her. You know. Let's see who you ulted that fight. Okay, we just saw the Talon. We just saw the Talon ult, but we also know he already ulted. Is it a good decision to ult Talon right now? All right, let's see your point of view. Let's see what knowledge you have just on your point of view. Okay, if you're watching as you should be. Whoops. Okay, you 100% know Talon ulted. He's useless. He's low HP. He doesn't have ult. He's not. It's like a Zed. He's not gonna want to go back in because he's just instantly gonna die. You can kill him anytime he comes in. And also, let's look at your team. 3 people are dead. You have a Poppy here. He has Zanya's. Her QSS is down. I think it is anyway, because she just used it over here and it's a pretty long cooldown. Okay, it's down. She had just used it, so you can actually see her use it, I think. Unless this is bugged. It seems to be bugged. But let's see. Okay, so Talon's ult's down. Rumble has Zanya's. Kalista has QSS. You have to keep that in mind. There's no target. There's no ult here. There's no play here at all. The best you could possibly do, would be ulting the Talon and instantly getting away and flashing or something, getting away and just dragging their attention off this turret. But you chose the all-in, and the only play here was pretty much to ult the Talon, or maybe the Kalista, because her QSS might be down. I'm not sure because it's most likely up since your team is dead and she had used it earlier when fighting you. So it's most likely up. You just have to assume that it's up if you don't know. You just assume. Okay. You don't do any damage to them in the AoE there, but you kill the Talon and you ult swapped back instead of flashing. You should have flashed there. There was no reason to ult swap there. That flash should have been done over here because they couldn't have chased you if you had flashed over here and then ult swapped back after they started chasing over here. And so that was probably, like, you almost made the correct play. The only thing you could have done was you should have known that ult swapping here and flashing wouldn't have done you anything. They were still very close to you. Only thing you could do is ult the Talon, instantly flash over, and try and finish him off with your combo and ult. Because look, you just died for free. It's a hacker. He can chase you as far as he wants. So what does that put your team in? You put your team in the situation where they would get aced, and they take your inhibitor, and now they get to set up Baron. They might be able to get bot turret. Now there's no reason to go bot for them, but they might be able to set up Baron control now. They can get vision around here, and it looks like they're going bot, but they should be going bot right now. Oh, well, yeah, they can't take this inhibitor safely, so there's no reason for the enemy to be bot right now. Okay, that's good. They just shoved the lane and recalled. That's good. And they're gonna go to Baron now. They're gonna get Baron control because you all died. Like, you can see, they're going to Baron just because this Morgana showed on the map. You already know. You're bot. Look at this. You are bot for some reason. You wasted all that time walking down bot when you saw Morgana walk over here. So keep that in mind. Okay, we don't have top laner. Bad fight. Instantly. You don't have you see this? Bad fight. His TP is up. But in this situation against a team that can engage like this, and when you're not grouped as a team, in this situation it's a bad fight because your top laner TPing isn't gonna make the difference here. Okay. Who'd you ult? Did you ult? This is a really spread out fight. Okay, your W's there. Wait, why is it speeding up? I don't want it to speed up. Oh, whoops. You're ulting the Rumble. You're not using your ult. And okay, when you're playing Zed, you don't just want to ult just so you can kill a target. You want to be ulting as they're using an important ability, because if you can dodge an important ability, like if you can dodge this Hecarim ult, That'd be very ideal. So, you know, you're ulting. I realized there wasn't that big of a play. The only thing you could have done was just go up top of Jax and finish the Calista off, because that was guaranteed. She's 100% dead. Right here, the play. This is a poor play. You're instantly just gonna die if your team's already, your team's already dead. You're instantly gonna die if you go in on here, and you're not gonna be able to defend your base. So look, this whole fight, you could have been alive. You could have been alive this whole fight if you had just backed off right here. There's no play here. If there's no play, like you don't have to press R. You don't have to go in if there's no play. You don't have to feel obligated to go in times when there's no play. Like if it's a really wishy-washy fight, and right here, let's go back. Okay, I mean our Sivir is already. Look, we don't have a Sivir. We already know it's a bad fight from here. You could have just backed off. She just skedaddled after she got low. She got low by the town and skedaddled. She's out of the fight. Right there is when you would want to finish this off as best as you can and get out. As soon as that shows up, you want to get out. As soon as that ult showed up, you made the mistake of going in still. You should have instantly just backed off as soon as, because this Morgana was a free kill up until her team arrived. As soon as her team arrived, that's when you want to turn her out. Now and then we already know the consequences of that play. Your whole team, your team gets messed up here because you're not alive. The only difference here, look, you ulted Rumble. Did you do any damage to him? No, you just instantly died. The only difference here would have been their team still would have been pushing your base, except if you had just chosen to get out instead of chasing that Morgana kill after you see their team. You would have been able to be at full HP right now, have your ult up, and be able to defend your team. With you alive right now, it's not so easy to just walk up into your base, because look at this Morgana. This Morgana is still low HP. She can't even be here if you're alive. So that already causes her team to be at a disadvantage of having two people here. It would have been a 3v2. This fight wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have, I don't know if they're gonna get your turret or not, but this whole thing would have been aced. You would have won easily. 100%. They're all dead if you're there. You see how big of a difference that makes in changing the course of the game? Look, they would have been aced. Your team actually would have been able to just go to Baron right now. The Jax would have been able to recall, get full HP, and then home guard down to Baron. The Poppy would have been up. Your whole team's up. Sivir's gonna lifesteal off of auto attacking, so she's fine. You guys actually would have been able to get Baron there if you had not died earlier. So I'm just showing you what the change of the outcome how the outcome of a game can change based on your decision making. It's huge. The smallest little things make the biggest difference. And it looks like you died for free again. I guess, he just probably cheesed you there. Looks like he just insta-gib cheesed you with, but that wouldn't have happened if your team, if your team was alive, because you had backed earlier, or you had just gone out of this fight earlier. So that's another thing that you probably wouldn't have happened. Talon wouldn't have been able to walk up here for free because your team would have been grouped and you would have been going to Baron. You would have had Baron right now. You would have been contesting it. Morgana would be dead, Hecarim would be dead, Rumble would be dead. And you would still be alive, and you would still be at this fight. So, big things I'm noticing from this game is you're just not picking your fights very well. you're not thinking about when to take fights. You're not looking at people's items. You're not making educated guesses based on their items to see if you can 1v1 people. And you're making lots of blind guesses on vision. Right now, you might get away with it, but it's a bad habit. It's a very bad habit, because you're going to be punished for doing things like this every time in higher elos. If you're climbing, you might get stuck in an elo simply because you didn't sort out this problem you're having right now with this whole blind face checking. Okay, that was good. Talon just got really greedy there. That was weird. Looks like this game's gonna be wrapped up pretty soon by just that they're gonna ace it, looks like, and end the game. I don't know. Maybe we can spot out one more thing. This game. Is there a reason to do that? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? Are you? You're not the tank, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, what do we know? Right here, what do we know? We're grouped as 5. Jack's a split. We have no vision. Okay, now we have vision of the Hecarim. We know they're probably up here. It's a 5v4, but that doesn't mean go full on aggressive, because Morgana's right here. She could just be right around this corner. She could flash in, you know, there's a lot of things that Morgana can still do. So it's something. This isn't free, and he's a tank. At this point, he's an off tank. Okay, you W'd. You know, the W there was fine if you just W'd and didn't swap to it, but you swapped to it. Now, you used your escape, you have flash. Best case scenario, if you had already made the mistake, you could have instantly just flashed out before Kalista autoed you. That was pretty much your only play there after that mistake. But first off, you made the mistake of Wing in when you don't have vision. If that's, you're using your escape there. Your W is you offensively used your escape in a situation where you didn't have vision. Look, you W'd into a place where you didn't have vision. You instantly swapped. We already look. We see Rumble there too now. We already see this is a game-changing error. Game-changing error that changes the state of the game. And Kalista, you know, Kalista has QSS. You're not gonna kill her if you're low. You're just dead. She autos you once, press C, boom, dead. Okay. And she just QSS's it for free. She doesn't even have to QSS it, but because he didn't do any damage. Look at that. That did no damage. She didn't even touch her with that. That was one of those situations where it was there was no reason to do that. You don't have to ult. You don't get kills as Zed by mindlessly ulting people. You have to put some thought into it. It's okay to stay back and clean up as Zed. Zed is pretty good at cleanup. You don't have to just ult off the bat right into a team fight. You have to look for an opportunity. If Morgana uses her ult or uses her Q, or Hecarim ults, those are the key things you want to watch out for against this team. The Rumble ult, that's pretty much nothing against Zed. That's not something you have to watch out for because of your high mobility. But Morgana ult and her Q, that's something you want to. That's a key thing you want to be watching for. And the Hecarim ult is a key thing you want to be watching for. You don't have to worry about Talon ult. He can't insta-kill you right now because he's dead. But you want to be worrying about Hecarim and Morgana ult. If all their abilities are up, you know, you have to be really careful about what you do because you're instantly going to die if any of that hits you. You don't have QSS, or you do now, but you're not using it. So, well, and I'm pretty sure you guys lose the game off of this fight here. Because you're dead, the server's low, Poppy's low. And then the Jack goes in without his team when his team was low. There was no reason for that to happen. It looked like more of like just a desperate attempt. And yeah, you guys just get aced off of that play there. You died for no reason. And that caused, you know, you basically threw the game right there. You guys honestly could have won right there. Because the Talon was, you know, if the Talon was dead, alright? It's a 5v4. You guys could have won the game if you had played that much better. So, despite all the mistakes you had made in this game, leading up to this point, right here, you had another chance to redeem all of your mistakes and win the game. But you're not thinking about using your ult very efficiently. And I realize when you're playing Zed and you get to the point where they're so far ahead, they can just build QSS and Zhonya's. That's something that you have to be able to control with your snowball. You weren't able to control, like, if they're rushing, like, let's say the Talon's behind, okay, he's not going to be rushing a QSS because there's no point to rush a QSS and defensive items if you're not a threat in the first place. So you can basically increase the longevity of your snowball by preventing them from getting those items by not dying, keeping your CS up, and having a lead. And that's the things you need to be doing as Zed. If you're not doing those things, they're gonna build their defensive items without a sweat, and you're gonna become useless very quickly. And that's why it's so important if you're gonna play a champion like Zed to maintain a snowball and not to throw away the game with 1-for-1s and blind pick guesses all game. So those are the main things here. You mechanically, you're probably better than these players. I didn't really they didn't. No, nothing really impressed me here. They didn't make any outplays. They didn't do anything crazy. You just lost the game by outplaying yourself. The biggest opponent in this game was yourself, honestly. Your team's mistakes, regardless, your team's mistakes weren't big enough to the point where they prevented you from being able to carry the game. So, with just slightly better decision making, knowing when to back, knowing what play style to use when you're using your trinkets, and using your ult more carefully by watching for key abilities on the enemy team that can lock you down. Key lockdown abilities are what you want to be watching for as assassins. You want to be watching for targets that are split off from fights, don't have summoners, don't have QSS, don't have Zhonya's, and don't have the CCs. Once they don't have the CCs, you're pretty much at free reign because you're Zed. You can ult in, you can shadow swap through their team, and then you can just ult back to your original shadow, and you can get out. But if they have their CCs, you can't do that. You're not free to do that. So other than that, you did make a few good roams. Some of your groupings were good, and you did get early kill pressure on that Talon. But you really could have snowballed the game just by having those simple little mistakes that you made cleared up earlier, though. So keep that in mind and be really careful for what you do when you're playing Zed, basically. Alright, and that's about it.